Hello viewers, this is Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot, and today I want to read on Trump in March. He's got multiple forces weighing down upon him. Of course, we had Cohen's explosive testimony this week gone, and coinciding with his disastrous meeting in Hanoi, where he walked away from peace talks. Now we have odd things going on with that. Kim Jong-un has come out and said they did not demand full lifting of sanctions. They demanded lifting of 5 of those sanctions in return to closing down its nuclear missile plant, or one of them. Trump is saying that the North Koreans demanded lifting of all the sanctions, and that's why he walked away. So someone there is not telling the truth. All the press coverage that I have read on that meeting seems to be highlighting a common theme, and that is Trump's inexperience going into those talks, disregarding the advice of the experts, thinking he can do it himself, and of course they're saying that Trump was outfoxed, outmatched, inexperienced, and naive. So, which of course is what we see in his foreign policy generally. Now, Cohen has raised some fairly serious matters that are likely to now be further investigated by the Congress. When I tuned into Trump's energy for March, what I got was that he fears the Democrats in the House. He fears those investigation committees. He really does. That is really worrying him. And so while Cohen's testimony brought things, some of which we knew, to the public, out in public, the fact that he gave those committees more information that potentially can lead to more investigation is the thing that bothers Trump. So I want to have a look at Trump in March. So post Cohen, obviously I also tuned in and found he's extremely fearful. I found almost a morsel of regret as well, and I don't think it's regret of the lost friendship with Cohen. It's regret that he's even in this position to begin with. Of course, we know from multiple sources that he didn't expect to win, and of course he didn't really want to be the president. What did Cohen say? The campaign was one giant infomercial. Okay, on the Trump brand. All right, so we've got that post-fallout from Cohen in March. We've got the Southern District of New York likely to ramp up their investigation. I have to say that I am picking up a couple of things, viewers. I am picking up that Rudy Giuliani will somehow be caught up in that SDNY investigation. I've read on that a couple of times, including in other forums, and it all points to Giuliani having something over on Giuliani, and there are women involved as well. So I'll read on those a little bit closer, because I know that there is some conjecture out there around Trump and trafficking. Of course, he had the modelling agency. So there's all of that. And his finances, his tax, his potential finance fraud, or committing crimes relating to that, and taxation. So there's all of these investigations likely to be churning over in March. Now, something that's come out overnight, really, or in the last 48 hours, is Jared Kushner's security clearance. It's potentially very serious. And of course, we've got possibly Mueller, either the Mueller report coming down or some kind of action from Mueller in March. So let's have a look at Trump in March, viewers. What do we need to know about Trump in March? Let's have a look what we can see. Trump in March. What do we need to know about Trump in March? Okay, let's have a look at this week. We'll go week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4. What do we need to know over those 4 weeks about Trump in March? Trump in March. Okay, week 1. So this is pretty obvious. I think the Kim Jong-un will dominate. The failure in Hanoi will dominate. Also Russia. So we've got potentially Trump and his foreign policies and potential relationships with others. Netanyahu, Israel's Prime Minister, has been indicted. We know Trump and Kushner are cozy with Israel. We know they're cozy with the Saudis as well, and obviously there's the Putin allegations. So we have all of that, including North Korea. I do have a feeling, I'll just bring the laptop down, I do have a feeling that he's being played by foreign powers at the moment in some way. Now, if you go back through my readings, you will see what we've got to say about power and how power is... I think there was an image that I got that Trump's power is being brutally cleaved away. That, of course, is domestically, but I also think that he's very vulnerable at this point in time on the world stage. Yes, the Two of Wands here. Okay, so that is around expansion, commerce. It's also got this overseas aspect here. It's often one of the cards that I use for Russia. So there's going to be something coming up in March for Trump. He might even, I don't know if he's due to travel again, but there is something coming up in relation to the world now, and his foreign policies here likely to come forward. This is week 1 in March. This is the week we're going into. So we've got the world card, of course, obviously pointing to the world, but it's also endings and beginnings, and of course it's validated by the Two of Wands, which is this almost overseas. It's around commerce. It could be his trade talks will come into view here. He may well be using deflection around his foreign policies and his economic policies to really get the attention away from what is happening internally with him. Via the Democrats, via Cohen. There's going to be some kind of international aspect overlay to this week for Trump. It's going to be all about his relationships with foreign powers and an international perspective. Week 2, we've got the Two of Swords here. Now, this is around... I often liken it to the crossroads, where you've got multiple forces weighing down upon you and you are forced into some kind of decision. Often it can be a compromise. What's Trump going to be compromising about in the second week of March? I feel that it has something to do also around his personal finances. I'm also getting that he really is in crisis around that in week 2. There's some kind of crisis around his money in week 2. It could be that we mentioned the Southern District of New York. We could see some kind of information coming forward from that investigation in week 2. And really, I'm getting the Ace of Wands here, and I felt that Cohen's testimony, I think this is relating to Cohen's testimony as well, will bring forward a momentum in those investigations. This could also be the House, the Democratic committees here, wanting to open up new investigations in relation to his money. So his money, his business, his past business ties, they're all in focus in week 2 of March. Now, week 3, this is an interesting card. Week 3 is the Three of Pentacles, and of course we've got really around teamwork and repairing things. So I think in week 3 what's going to happen is you're going to see the GOP get on the front foot and try and protect Trump. You're going to see a lot of deflection coming from them. You're seeing attack. So next week's dominated by foreign policy. This week coming is dominated by foreign policy. Trump on the world stage, the mistakes he's making, potentially more information coming out around Jared Kushner. We'll read on that separately. However, week 2, there's some kind of attack around his attack. There's some kind of investigation, there's some kind of information that comes out around his finances. Could it be his tax returns? And this is the Democrats driving this post-Cohen. Week 3, the GOP, as I said, they're now starting to get on the front foot here, and they're going to be fighting pretty hard on behalf of Trump, in week 3. Really, I get a sense with this card that they're trying to make him look better than what he currently is, because this card is actually somebody sculpting something. Now, in this case, it's a statue, quite a beautiful looking statue. But and of course, what is at the back of this is the Three of Pentacles. This potentially could be dark money as well. The GOP and dark money tend to be a little bit synonymous. We know that their campaigns were funded via the NRA, via Russian donations. We know that. There's going to be some kind of fancy footwork, if you like, by the GOP to make Trump and themselves look better than what they are, and they will be coming forward with strength here, the card of strength. So watch out for week 3. You're going to get the GOP on the offensive. This could also be the emergency declaration as well. It could also be signalling the Democratic strength coming in, really, to counteract what the GOP is doing. You might see the emergency declaration legislation or resolution, go through the Senate, go through to Trump. Trump shows his muscle, or his supposed muscle, and vetoes that resolution, which he's already said he would do. And then, of course, what happens then? Mitch McConnell, as we know, can override Trump's veto. Is he likely to do it? This is suggesting he won't. So it could be that the emergency declaration then it's up to the courts now. I've never seen the emergency declaration holding up. It could be for the courts to fight it out. By the time we get to the 4th week in March, we've actually got the GOP here fighting internally amongst themselves. There could be some information that's coming out in the 4th week or in March that is causing more internal insurrection for Mitch McConnell. Now, what could that be? What could that be? If Trump vetoes the emergency declaration, what action then is up to Congress? This is the card that is obstacles. It's challenges to existing authority. It's infighting. That's what's going to characterise the 4th week of May. And also we've got something ending. What's ending in relation to this fighting here? Something is ending by the time we get to the end of March. We are looking at the death card. I'm going to pull another clarifier on that. What is ending by the time we get to the end of March here? Is this what's happening here? What's happening here? Does this have to do with the emergency declaration? What is ending? Trump's authority, Trump's power. What is ending here? Some kind of victory here. So this could be for the Democrats. Again, I'm getting the sense that this is Congress. In some way, by the end of March, the Democrats are going to have a victory in the House. Yeah, it is to do with the government. So in some way, this is the Hierophant card. There's victory for the Democrats by the end of March. So I think they have, is it 16 or 18 days now for that legislation to come through. But I mean, this reading's showing Trump is going to veto it. I think by the end of March, this is around the emergency declaration. I think that's what's going to happen. So I haven't asked a specific question there, but they're the general conditions for March. I don't see Mueller's report coming through in March, but we can certainly ask that question. Okay. The last week of March, what's that? What's all of that infighting likely to be? Let's drill down a bit. more on that. Trump in March. I'm also picking up Jared Kushner as well, so I'm going to do a separate reading on him. He deserves one all to himself. There's some kind of ending coming up in March in relation to Trump. It's fought over, and he's not going to win. It's the Congress that's going to win. So that's what we need to look out for. So what do we need to know about the Mueller report? Is it going to be brought forward in March? Is the Mueller report likely to be brought forward in March? Yes. So we've got waiting for results here in suspension. So that's our first card straight out of the gate. It's likely indicating possibly it won't. We've also got the Nine of Cups, which is a wish card. I think there's going to be a lot of pressure in March to see what Mueller's got. We've got the Five of Pentacles coming forward around isolation. I see this is a Trump. These are the conditions for Trump in March. Mueller's report. The Mueller investigation is really close to. It's close to the psyche, if you like, of the country. A lot is riding on that Mueller report. It's been a thorn in Trump's side for so long. People are wanting it to come forward. I'm seeing they're desperately wishing it's the miracle that they need to get rid of Trump. But here is Trump suspended. You know, he's losing his power. He's ineffective, but he's still there. He's still there, despite the fact that he's definitely out in the cold, if you like. And we've got the Queen of Swords coming through, which is the truth here, wanting the truth, needing the truth. This is juxtaposed with the suspension and having to wait. We've got the Star of Hope again coming forward, mirroring the wish card. People are wanting to see this report. And we've got patience, and particularly around the monetary aspect of the Mueller investigation, the quid pro quo, potentially Trump's finances, Trump's business in the past, Moscow Tower, etc. Quid pro quo, we've got all those. That's mirroring what we already know, and that Trump is fairly isolated on this. We've got Trump again in March throwing up smoke screens, trying to deflect. I think, away from his business interests. But also Ivanka is featuring fairly strongly in March as well. I don't feel, according to my this reading, I don't feel that Trump is going to have to face the Mueller report in March. I'll just do a quick reading on potentially why that is, to try and why Mueller. I feel it's linked to Stone. I think he needs to finish with Stone before his reporting is complete. Potentially getting information corroboration from Stone. Why is there a delay here? Oh yeah, okay. So what I'm getting is people that need to are looking at that report and making decisions about how, well, looking at the draft, what they've got so far, making decisions about how to release this. It's quite significant, it's quite serious, and they're not going to be doing anything that could... I think they're also worried about Trump as well, what he could do once Trump and his supporters, what could happen. They're waiting for the right time. They're not going to bring it forward and do anything silly. What do we need to know about why the Mueller report may not, or if there are any delays in March? What are they waiting for? Okay, so they're still working on it at the moment. They're still working on it. There's the monetary aspects here. This is what they're trying to follow up. I think around linking money with the collusion here. Trump keeps saying there's no collusion. I think they need absolute. I think they need some money changing hands here. That could be via donations. It's the money trail here that that Mueller is still working on. This is the card of waiting for results and stalemates. Yeah, there's some kind of hold up here. And there is this worry. This card came forward in relation to a reading I did on Bar. There is a worry about releasing this, the way in which it might come out, what would be the ramifications and the consequences. It is coming out, and it will mean the ending of a perilous period. So they want to do things properly. They want to do things in the right way. And of course, this is things still in formation. There's potentially they're working on also information surrounding Trump to really nail it. I think so. There is this delay. They're still working. Basically, they're still working, and it's connecting the dots around the money. There's also concurrently at the same time the DOJ, perhaps Barr, others working out. I think it goes broader than that too. I'm getting those infrastructures that. Perhaps intelligence agencies, those that potentially would be involved with the release of a report like this at the very high level, they're working out how this is going to be done because there is judgment there in relation to the president, and there's a lot riding on this. So two aspects, they're still working and they're working out how they're going to release this in the best possible way. I don't see sinister cards here. I don't see the devil. I don't see anything, the sword, the court cards around the swords, the Five of Swords. I don't see anything that would suggest that the weight is ill-intended. I think it's actually quite strategic, and they're trying to be quite... they're just being very careful in the way they're doing things. I don't see it coming forward in March, but I could be wrong. There is the judgment card, so it could be we could see some kind of action. But I do feel that March for Trump is going to be dominated by the congressional investigations and Southern District of New York. We're going to see more of that. Now, I'll read separately on Jared Kushner's security clearance probably for tomorrow, but I'll leave it there, viewers. I hope that looks like it's Trump's March, foreign policy, slip-ups on foreign policy, connections, perhaps that, more information coming out about Trump's connections with foreign countries. Things hidden coming to the surface, those congressional investigations, the post-fallout from Cohen. Now, in the last week of March, we've got the emergency declaration featuring quite strongly, but in the last week of March, I will put a caveat here on this reading in the Mueller report. We saw the fighting and the death card, and the victory card for the government. So if Mueller is going to bring his report out in March, it wouldn't be likely until the end of March. So that could be also around the emergency declaration, but we could see something from Mueller at the end of March. Now, it's frustrating, but this is quite a serious situation that has been 2-3 years in the making. So I'll leave it there, and we'll see what unfolds. Thank you.